Today we're going to be talking about my top 30 most anticipated movies of 2014. I did a video like this a year ago, my 20 most anticipated films of 2013, although I think it was 24 because I kind of tied some of them at the end. But I was going to make a video kind of going back and looking at the top 20 list I did in 2012 for 2013. And seeing how my expectations matched up to reality, and there were only a few on that list that I didn't end up seeing, but most of them pretty much exactly as I was expecting, really. And I won't bother making a full video about it because I've got so many other videos I want to make. There's just too many ideas, too little time. But I am going to do a top 30, bumping it up to 10 more films. Top 30 most anticipated films of this year, 2014. Is now January, the year is starting, and some great movies about to come out. So here are my top 30, although there is tied for the 30th place 5 films, so I guess you could call this my top 34 most anticipated films of 2014. Also, notable mention, there's a Terrence Malick film coming out this year. Supposedly has no title yet, has no release date, but it is starring Christian Bale, Natalie Portman, Cate Blanchett, Ryan Gosling, Michael Fassbender, Rooney Mara. That is the cast that just blows my socks off, like literally, like my socks are coming off right now just thinking about that. But I hope it does come out this year, and I hope we get a title soon and some information. I'm sure we will. And the thing with 2013 was only a handful of the movies on my top 20 list that I was really looking forward to ended up being my favourite films of the year. The rest of my favourite films of 2013 are films I hadn't heard of at the beginning of 2013, or I didn't really think were going to be that good, or, you know, just movies that came out of the blue. And that's usually the best films, I think. If you watch a lot of films anyway, which I've been trying to do more of, you'll find the more obscure ones sometimes can be the better ones. You know, the ones that aren't as overly produced, aren't the big sequel, aren't the big genre movie, but I have to say I'm a slave to the genre movie. But anyway, let's get cracking on right with it. Number 30 even, Jesus. Number 30, tied for number 30 are the 5 following films. God, I'm messing this up, aren't I? Resident Evil 6, 5th one was awful, 4th one was I quite enjoyed, the 3rd one I really liked, the 2nd one I really liked, the 1st one was good. I've followed the series, you know, it's a bit of a guilty pleasure because it is considered a really shit series of films, but I'm interested in seeing the final kind of movie. It's got to be the final one by now, from Mila Jovovich and the director something Anderson, I forget his name now, but he's married to Mila Jovovich. There's no real information about it yet. I'm sure it's not going to be called Resident Evil 6, it's going to be like Resident Evil Resurrection or something really stock like that, I'm sure. But I'm speaking with contempt, but I really want to see how they end it and if they can finish it on a strong note. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, similar thing. Wasn't really interested in the Amazing Spider-Man. Went to see it. Wasn't really that impressed by it. Didn't think it was great. Not really looking forward to the second one. Although Dane DeHaan's one of my favourite actors at the moment, so I'm looking forward to seeing him in the film, and I will go see it. But you know, I'm anticipating it, but I'm not expecting to love it. Then we got Transformers 4: Age of Extinction. Again, I followed along those films and I thought they were okay. They were enjoyable entertainment. You know, I don't really hate them or have a big problem with them, so I'm looking forward to seeing the new one. Divergent, this is a film, from what I can gather, seems to be along the lines of a Hunger Games, a dystopian future, we've got teenagers, that kind of thing, and I don't know too much about it, but I like the actors who are involved in it, particularly the actress who's in the lead role, I think, or one of the lead roles. She was in The Spectacular Now last year, and I thought she was brilliant, so I'm looking forward to seeing her in this movie, and you know, it could be good. I'll give it a shot. And finally, Sin City: A Dame to Kill For, which was in my top 20 anticipated films of 2013. It was, of course, pushed back to this year, 2014. Can't wait to see it. Eva Green is in it. That's going to be great. I love Eva Green. And I'm not a huge fan of the first film, but I do really like it, so I'm interested to see where Robert Rodriguez takes the sequel, as well as Frank Miller, who I believe is directing as well, or is heavily involved anyway. And I'm a big fan of Robert Rodriguez, from where he's come from, where he's come to, and you know, his stance on filmmaking in general. Big fan of him, so looking forward to that. Now let's crack on with the normal, you know, just single list. 29, Maleficent. This is the new Disney, you know, they've been doing like Alice in Wonderland, Oz the Great and Powerful. This is the new live action big Disney blockbuster that's based on one of the kind of classic tales. Well, I guess The Wizard of Oz wasn't a Disney tale, but Alice in Wonderland was. And it's Maleficent who is the antagonist in Sleeping Beauty. So Angelina Jolie is playing that character. Don't know too much about it, but I'm going to go see it, or I'm going to see it when it comes out, you know, whichever happens. I'm not going to rush out and see it, but I'm interested to see where it goes. Number 28, Need for Speed. Seems like a fun movie. I'm a fan of Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad. Also, Michael Keaton's in this movie, so I'm definitely going to see it because of that. And it looks like it could be a good action movie. 27, Jupiter Ascending. Another kind of futuristic, I guess dystopian kind of movie from the Wachowski brother and sister. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. I like their films, and so should be good. Tusk. This is a horror film. I don't know when this is coming out, but I assume it's coming out this year. It's a horror movie that Kevin Smith made last year. He kind of did it really quickly. Like, he had this crazy idea on a podcast I listened to last year, and he said, dude, this would make a fucked up movie. And within 2 months, the set was being built. They had Michael Parks and I think Justin Long attached to star in the film. And he's filmed it, it's done, and so I'm sure it's going to come out this year. Looking forward to seeing where he takes this dark, twisted, really weird story. Number 25, RoboCop, the remake. I'm not too psyched about it, but Michael Keaton's in it, so I'm definitely intrigued. And, you know, as a big fan of the original, and Paul Verhoeven, you know, a big fan of his classic movies, you know, it's not going to come anywhere close to it, but I don't know, I'm willing to give it a shot. 24, Transcendence. This is the, I believe, the debut as a director of Wally Pfister, who is the cinematographer for Christopher Nolan on most of his films, I think, the Dark Knight films. And this is starring Rebecca Hall, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp is a character who I think his brain gets like put into a computer or something. It sounds a bit like a kind of 90s futuristic film, but I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes, especially with Wally Pfister behind the camera and directing. Should be interesting. 23, Guardians of the Galaxy, the new Marvel movie that isn't about one of the Avengers. And it seems like a real kind of science fiction fantasy kind of film, as opposed to, say, Iron Man, which is more rooted in a bit of reality, I guess. But then you look at Thor, and that's really kind of high fantasy, so I guess it fits. You know, we got, I think Bradley Cooper is voicing the Rocket Raccoon. We got some interesting cast members in there. We got Benicio del Toro. We saw a glimpse of him as the Collector in the what do you call it? The Sting, the mid-credit scene in Thor: The Dark World. So it should be an interesting one. Definitely intrigued as to where it's going to go. I have no idea how it's going to look. Also, oh, what's his name? The guy who played Merle in Walking Dead is in this as well, and I'm a big fan of him as an actor. 22, How to Train Your Dragon 2. Loved the first film. Don't think we really need a How to Train Your Dragon 2, but nonetheless, I'll go see it because I know the animation is going to be fantastic. It's probably going to be a good story. Haven't seen the trailer yet or know what it's about, but I'm really looking forward to it because I thought the original was fantastic. 21, Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom. This got a very brief release at the end of last year in the UK, around the time that Nelson Mandela actually passed away, unfortunately. But it's getting a wide release in 2014. Really looking forward to seeing this. Idris Elba's a fantastic actor, and it looks like a really great kind of biopic. Really looking forward to it. And I've just got to scroll up on my list on my computer, which I made earlier. Number 20, Inside Llewyn Davis. This is a movie that has gotten a lot of great rave reviews. Came out last year in America, it's coming out this year in Europe. I forget the guy's name now, Oscar something. I remember him from Drive, and this looks like a completely different role from him, and that only to me kind of shows how versatile he can be as an actor. The trailer looked great. Coen Brothers, I can't wait to see this film. It's just going to be great. I just know it is, and I can't wait to see it. So yeah, that's it. 19, 12 Years a Slave, another movie that came out last year in America, but is getting a wider release in Europe in 2014. In fact, it's coming out very soon. Can't wait to see this one. I forget, I don't know how to pronounce the guy's name who's in the lead role of this, but he's a fantastic British actor. I really like his work, and I can't wait to see him in this. Of course, we've got Michael Fassbender in this film as well. I think Brad Pitt is also in it. I might be wrong about that, but it's been getting great reviews. Robbie Webster praised it highly, so I can't wait to see it. 18, Expendables 3. Which seems ridiculous to take a movie like 12 Years a Slave and place it behind Expendables 3, but I'm a slave to the Expendables movies. I love them. I think they're great, really fun, action-filled, nostalgia fests, and they're just brilliant. Love the first two. Can't wait for this one. We got Harrison Ford, replacing Bruce Willis in the film. Of course, Bruce Willis wanted more millions, so Stallone said, "Fuck off, then we'll get Harrison Ford." Greedy and lazy. And who else is in it? I think like Wesley Snipes, maybe Antonio Banderas, Mel Gibson. I know is definitely in it. So yeah, we've got some new faces coming in. Schwarzenegger's back, of course. Can't wait for it. 17, Captain America, or as I've written down, Captain. Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Looking forward to this. I like the Captain America movie, the first Avenger, and I like Chris Evans as Steve Rogers. I think he's a really great Captain America. Really embodies the character well, physically and performance-wise. So I'm looking forward to seeing this, and it's obviously more of a continuation of the Avengers storyline. We got Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow appearing in this film as well, so it should be good. Robert Redford's also going to be in this film, so I'm really looking forward to it. As a fan of the Marvel cinematic universe that they've created. And of course, it's now next year that we'll be seeing the Avengers 2, Age of Ultron. Speaking of which, the Transformers film is called Age of Extinction, which I think is kind of slightly just taking what they did with the Avengers 2 title reveal. Seems a bit odd. I don't know. Just don't go with something that someone else is already doing. That's what I say. Number 16, we got this biblical epic. it's not historical as far as I'm concerned. A biblical epic directed by Darren Aronofsky, a fantastic director. I mean, God, the guy's incredible. Like Requiem for a Dream, even though I never want to see it again, is brilliant. The Wrestler, Black Swan, just fantastic. This is his latest, a big biblical epic starring Russell Crowe as Noah. We got Anthony Hopkins in this. There's a great cast. Jennifer Connelly. Big fan of Jennifer Connelly, so it's going to be really, really interesting to see all these actors in this big role. Emma Watson is in it also. And number 15 is another biblical epic that I'm slightly looking forward to more. It is Exodus, in which Christian Bale plays Moses, and we've also got Aaron Paul in this, Sigourney Weaver. Can't wait because, of course, Ridley Scott directs this film, so really psyched for that. 14, A Million Ways to Die in the West. This is the new comedy film from Seth MacFarlane, the creator of Family Guy, who had big success in 2012 with Ted, and is trying to follow that up with a Western comedy. Really looking forward to it. I know that, I think, what's her name? Blonde woman. She's in loads of... Charlize Theron, I think, is in this. I forget the other actress, but Neil Patrick Harris is also in this in a big role. Really looking forward to that. I'm a big fan of MPH, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him in a big movie. Apart from, I guess he was in the Smurfs movies, but this will probably be more seen. This will probably be people who have seen Ted and love Ted will probably be flocking to see A Million Ways to Die in the West, I should imagine. Number 13, Godzilla. It's either Gareth Edwards or Gareth Evans, I forget. It's one of the two who is making this. And it looks fantastic, and again, stellar cast: Aaron Johnson, Bryan Cranston, Elizabeth Olsen, who's really been impressing me over the past couple of years. Godzilla just looks really, really epic and awesome. 12, The Wind Rises, the latest Studio Ghibli film, directed by Hayao Miyazaki, and it was said that it would be his last movie, but apparently on New Year's Eve he was on a radio station in Japan, and he kind of went back a bit on his retirement, so hopefully we'll see another Hayao Miyazaki directed film, and I really want to see a sequel to Porco Rosso, but nonetheless, The Wind Rises has been getting rave reviews, which is to be expected, and I can't wait to see it. Big fan of Hayao Miyazaki. Number 11, The Wolf of Wall Street. Everyone's seen it in America. It's just about to come out here in January at the end of the month, so I can't wait to see that. DiCaprio, Jonah Hill, Matthew McConaughey, great cast, really long. It has the most F-bombs in any fictional movie ever, and one of Martin Scorsese's, well, people say it's one of his best films. That remains to be seen, but I'm really looking forward to seeing if it kind of holds up to the hype. Stands up to the hype. Number 10, Her, Spike Jonze's next film, or latest film, I suppose. What happened to Old Boy? I didn't hear anything about that. That got released last year, didn't it? There was no real buzz around that film. Anyway, Her is the next film, and it's starring Joaquin Phoenix. He's now shaved off his beard. He's stopped pretending to be a rapper or whatever that stupid film was that he did. Stupid publicity stunt. And he's now acting, back to doing serious stuff. Although in fairness, I think he's been back for a while. But, I haven't seen him in anything lately. I know he was in The Master, which I really need to see. Her Joaquin Phoenix plays a guy who falls in love with his operating system, you know, the voice that comes out of your computer, voiced by Scarlett Johansson. There's been a big buzz around the fact that she can't be nominated for like a Golden Globe or an Oscar for this, so it must be really good, and it looks like a really good film, so I'm looking forward to seeing it. Number 9, Dallas Buyers Club. Know nothing about this film other than Matthew McConaughey plays a guy who has AIDS, I believe, or HIV. He lost a bit of weight for the role. And really my main kind of motivation to watch this film is that Christopher Lloyd said on the Nerdist podcast that he saw it and he thought it was incredible, and he thought Matthew McConaughey was just amazing in the film. So that alone for me, definitely a seal of approval from Christopher Lloyd. I'm definitely going to go see that, and I can't wait to see what Matthew McConaughey does with that role. Just to scroll up on my computer towards the end of this now, number 8, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Was a big fan of Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Can't wait to see Andy Serkis bringing Caesar back to life again. Gary Oldman starring in this, so it should be great. The teaser trailer looked really interesting, and I can't wait to see the continuation of this new rebooted ape story. Really thought the first one was brilliant, and I hope they keep the quality up for the next one. Number 7, Mockingjay Part 1. I hate that they're splitting the final Hunger Games story into 2 films, but you know, we'll see what happens. I thought Catching Fire was fantastic, and I hope they kind of again continue the quality, but again we'll see where the story goes. I know what happens, and I'm kind of a bit not quite sure how they're going to pull it off, and if it's going to be a satisfying movie or not. I'm not sure whether it should have been one long film, but time will tell, and I'm sure they'll make more money than ever, so that's what they want. Number 6, Birdman. There's no release date for this yet, but it stars Emma Stone, Zach Galifianakis, or whatever his name is, and Michael Keaton in the lead role, and he plays an actor who used to play this superhero called Birdman. And it seems very close to Batman, or you know, the kind of idea of it. And he's this, I think, struggling actor, or not struggling, but he's struggling in his later career to do something in the theatre. I can't quite remember what. And he's plagued by the fact that he used to play this popular Birdman character, and it starts appearing, you know, and he starts seeing it and stuff, something like that. For me, it just sounds great to see Michael Keaton in a starring role again in a comedy movie with people like Emma Stone, you know, young, relevant people who are hopefully going to boost the profile of the movie and get people to see how awesome Michael Keaton is. 5, Interstellar, Christopher Nolan's latest film, sci-fi space film. Well, it doesn't look awesome because the teaser trailer didn't really show that much, but it sounds awesome. Fantastic cast again. Matthew McConaughey, he's really becoming awesome lately, and he's starring in some fantastic big film, so I can't wait to see him in that. And there's some other great actors, I've forgotten who they are, but of course Christopher Nolan, I'm going to be there for every film he makes because he's just a fantastic filmmaker. Number 4, The Grand Budapest Hotel, one of my favourite directors of all time, Wes Anderson. His latest film coming out in a few months. A stellar cast. I mean, that cast is amazing. There's a poster. One of the posters is just like all the cast, and it's just absolutely incredible. We got some new people working with him, like Ray Fiennes. There's a few people. Ray Fiennes is one of them. I think Léa Seydoux from Blue is the Warmest Colour and other films. She's in this in a small role. We got someone else. Saoirse Ronan, the Irish actress who I'm a big fan of. So yeah, he's working with some new actors, and I can't wait to see them in the Wes Anderson universe, but also bringing back a lot of the regulars, all the regulars really. Bill Murray, Jeff Goldblum, Willem Dafoe, Jason Schwartzman. It's going to be awesome. Cannot wait. Number 3, Dumb and Dumber 2, and I notice I have 3 minutes left. I'm trying to speed this up. Dumb and Dumber 2 I can't wait for. It's going to be released 20 years after the original. I was talking to Claire, Lunaria Claire, last year about this, and we were just geeking out, and I think we for about half an hour on Facebook we just communicated via quotes from the first film. It's one of my favourite films, comedy films ever. Probably one of my top 3 comedy films up there with Planes, Trains and Automobiles and The Blues Brothers. Endlessly quotable, can watch it over and over again, and I just hope that they make it as good as it could be. And there's more I want to talk about with that, but I'm running out of time, so I won't. But I'll just say it's interesting how Jim Carrey's character, Jim Carrey's career exploded after Dumb and Dumber. Jeff Daniels just kind of didn't really go anywhere, and now Jeff Daniels is winning like Golden Globes and stuff for this newsroom drama he's doing, and Jim Carrey's kind of gone down a bit. So it's interesting where their careers have kind of gone up and down. So it'll be great to see them together again. Farrelly brothers directing again, so should be cool. And I'm just really psyched for it. Number 2, The Hobbit There and Back Again. Was a big fan of the first 2 Hobbit movies. Cannot wait to see the conclusion, the epic conclusion. Looking forward to seeing Billy Connolly in this film. and the showdown between the Bard and Smaug, and I thought they ended it brilliantly on Desolation of Smaug, and I can't wait to see the final part of the trilogy. It's going to be awesome. But my #1 film, and I said this last year, I said that this was the film I was really looking forward to the most, and it still stands. My #1 most anticipated film 2014 is X-Men Days of Future Past. Trailers just make it look amazing, and I loved First Class. I love the original X-Men films. And in fact, I said a year ago I'm not the biggest fan of X-Men. I've now watched all the films, I've marathoned them a couple of times now, and I'm really a big fan of them now. Love the originals, love Hugh Jackman, and of course the Wolverine came along and just was amazing. The best superhero film of 2013 in my opinion. It was better than Man of Steel and Iron Man 3 for my money. And so I'm just even more excited now. Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart coming back. Anna Paquin as Rogue was actually filmed but cut from the film, unfortunately, but obviously that means that they're really trying to kind of hone it down and not trying to clutter it too much. So I can't wait to see the two storylines or the two casts meet, or on the same screen, the same film together at least. I don't know how it's going to work out. I hope that the kind of timeline kind of sorts itself out with some of the things that happened in the previous films, and I just cannot wait for X-Men Days of Future Past. Sounds amazing. And then of course in 2016 we have X-Men Apocalypse, so it's all building to something even bigger. Cannot fucking wait. Going to be awesome. X-Men Days of Future Past, my #1 most anticipated film 2014. If I've missed any big films, let me know. Let me know what you're looking forward to this year. Thank you for watching. I'm going to take a drink of water now, and see you next time.
He says he's really cool, but I think he's a tool. Even though I'm sure he's a quite nice guy, really. He's a quite nice guy, really.